Timeshare Exit Team settled their long-standing lawsuit from the state of Washington Attorney General? Well, we're going to talk about the details right after this. Hello and welcome to Destination Timeshare. I'm Jeremy. Before we get into talking about the settlement between Washington State and essentially what is Timeshare Exit Team, I want to let you know on this channel, I provide my knowledge, tips, and advice to help you get the most from your timeshare ownership. But even if you don't own timeshare, but you love staying at timeshare resorts, I also do villa tours, resort reviews, and resort tours as well. Or maybe you want to see more timeshare news, just like this. Be sure to subscribe down below, and also click on that notification bell and select all, and you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. So let's talk about this. What exactly was this $2.61 million settlement, $1 million fine essentially, to Timeshare Exit Team from the state of Washington, Washington Attorney General, all about? So last month, Reed Hein and Associates and Washington State essentially kind of settled their lawsuit, the lawsuit from Washington State against Reed Hein for what Washington State claimed were deceptive practices. A $2.6 million fine for a timeshare exit scheme that affected about 2,800 Washington residents that entered into contracts with the company, paying anywhere from $3,000 to tens of thousands of dollars to get out of their timeshare. In addition to this $2.61 million payment, Reed Hein is also required to fulfill a consent decree. If they don't comply with this consent decree, it could mean up to additional $19 million in penalties. So here is kind of a summary of the consent decree from the state of Washington's website, the Attorney General, and I also read through the consent decree and added some additional points here as well. So they need to discontinue certain advertising and sales practices, including that Reed Hein forces or compels resorts, timeshare resorts, to take back timeshares, and that Reed Hein does not sell its customers timeshares, which, according to this consent decree, both are not true. Essentially, in some cases, if your timeshare actually has some value, you don't know that it has value. You've been trying to sell it for $20,000, what you paid for it. It might be worth $2,000 or $3,000. In a lot of cases, these exit companies just turn around and sell your timeshare. Maybe they list it on eBay. Sell your timeshare. Hey, you're out of your timeshare. You could have done it yourself for free, but you're out of your timeshare. So they cannot say that they do not sell or that they force or compel the developers to take back the timeshare, because they can't force anybody really to do anything. They need to discontinue damaging exit methods, including transfers that are done without the knowledge or consent of the resort. So this is one where they just sign it over to the resort on a deed, record the deed, and maybe it was, who knows, but the resort now owns it, and that is damaging to the resort. It's damaging to the owners. Nobody's paying for the maintenance fees anymore in that week because the old owner thinks he doesn't own it. They stop paying. Ultimately, the resort ends up foreclosing on the week, and it's a real mess. And the next one is kind of another one here that is similar to that. Disclose to customers that some exit methods may lead to foreclosure, and provide opt-out and refund options in those cases. So this might be a situation where they tell the owner, stop all communication with the timeshare company, and the timeshare company, they can't get a hold of the owner. They're not allowed to contact the owner, and the owner stops paying, and it leads to foreclosure at some point. That's damaging potentially to the owner's credit. It isn't a very good thing to be foreclosed on, and ultimately, you could have done it yourself. Just stop paying, stop talking to them, and they'll foreclose on you without having to pay thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. The next one here is disclose some of its business practices to consumers, including that some files might be outsourced to third-party vendors. So what they did was, in a lot of cases here, they just outsourced that to an external attorney who then maybe sent some canned letters, some mail merge form letters to the timeshare resort saying, hey, will you please take back the timeshare? That's one of the things that they were accused of in this lawsuit. The next one here is they may not offer a 100% money-back guarantee unless they escrow 100% of customers' payments until the services are complete. So essentially until the exit is complete. So they can't say, hey, 100% money-back guarantee, because essentially when a customer pays them, that money is going into operating costs, and the money may not necessarily be there down the road to provide that 100% money back guarantee. So they're not allowed to do that unless they escrow 100% of that money, and they're likely not going to be able to do that because that money is needed for day-to-day operations as well. If they don't offer a 100% money back guarantee, then they must make sure that at least 20% of the payment is put aside to provide potential refunds. They must also more readily provide refunds to customers, including a partial refund if the customer is not out of their timeshare 3 years from the date of their contract. So if they're not out of the timeshare within 3 years, they need to at least offer a partial refund. I thought this next one was actually kind of interesting. They need to retract and apologize for certain public statements made since the filing of the initial lawsuit from the state of Washington. So there was a lawsuit. They essentially disparaged, I guess the Attorney General thought, disparaged the lawsuit. So they need to apologize for that. The next one here is the company must not say they have secret, unique, or proprietary methods for performing timeshare exits unless they develop such methods unknown to the public and or not practiced by other persons performing timeshare exit services. So this was something that they used to say, we have proprietary methods to get you out of your timeshare. No, they don't. These methods, for the most part, were performed by other timeshare exit companies, even could be performed by you as a timeshare owner. So they're not allowed to make those claims in advertising anymore. The last major item here that I could find was they must post an announcement providing a link to the consent decree on their website, which must remain on their website for the duration of its operation. So they must put a link on their website to the consent decree, the full decree. Now, I did go out to their website to try and find this, and I couldn't find it on their homepage. Maybe it's there, maybe I missed it. If I did, take a look. Let me know in the comments below if it's there, where it's at. But I did look in the FAQ, and there is a link to it in the FAQ about, hey, is there a lawsuit between the state of Washington and Timeshare Exit Team, and it provides a link in there when you expand that question. And you can also do a search on their website for consent decree, and that FAQ item does come up, and there's a link to it in there. So couldn't find it on the main website, but I guess they're fulfilling this obligation by putting it in there. So there it is, the state of Washington versus Timeshare Exit Team and the settlement that they reached. I'm kind of interested to know what your thoughts are about this. Leave them down in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos all about timeshare, check out the description box below. And for more timeshare industry news, check out this one right up here. I did a video about why Dave Ramsey, a big proponent of Timeshare Exit Team, is wrong about timeshares. And YouTube, they think you'll like that video down there. Be sure to subscribe. You can do so by clicking on my picture right here. Hit that notification bell. And until next time, remember, the best destination is always a timeshare.